good to see you, buddy. How have you been? Things have been okay for me, except that I'm a zombie now.
Hey, I need you to teach me about sex. Dude, you're like 2 years old. I'm gonna give up hunting. Well, what would you do with your life? Oh, I've imprisoned this guy on a satellite, and I'm gonna make him and his robots watch some bad movies. Make sure to watch the MST 3K live stream on Netflix this Thursday.
I think I speak for all of us when I say I understand why you folks...
Well, another solid episode. Starting to wonder if maybe the beginning of this season was a fluke. It's kind of weird because I still remember the days of season 4 and 5, and they began, and the episodes related to the seasonal arc with Castiel and Lucifer, those were so good. Wow, many of the monsters of the week just felt like a drag and distraction, and I hated them, didn't want them in there. But here lately, it seems flipped. The Monsters of the Week episodes are brilliant and entertaining, while the arc episodes, those feel like they're dragging the show down. What made this episode so good? I mean, isn't it just a repeat of Season 2, Episode 4, Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things? Pretty much. But what makes the difference here? Jack. As the saying goes, kids make things fresh and new, and a big selling point of this adventure was watching the newbie, Jack, experience an adventure that Dean had been on before. It gives it a fresh perspective, and there's new entertainment to seeing the rookie go through what the veterans have. Things that we have seen the veterans go through. In fact, I say let's just go ahead and remake every early episode and just have Jack involved. Say, let's have all three of them go camping and Jack has to fight a Wendigo. Why not? So yeah, I like that they took an old story and put a new twist on it and kept the lore consistent with the silver stakes stabbing the zombies. In fact, something I've really enjoyed with this episode and the previous one is seeing the guys get in a situation where they're ill-equipped and have to adapt. And while I don't think the Jin last episode was really killed by Dean's efforts, we could at least assume that he was incapacitated long enough for the Winchesters to go get some lamb's blood and stab him for good. This time, they had to find a way to restrain the zombie to give them some time to find his grave. Again, I appreciate seeing the boys at a disadvantage and needing to improvise. Challenging the heroes just makes for good writing. The deal with the fly people, I mean, I give that a pass for now. It's logical that a creature which avoids humans would probably not have much lore on them, and so nobody's really learned that, well, good old-fashioned bullets at a high velocity could kill them. Then again, things were left open enough that a later episode could have this thing returning and revealing that he was just wounded, but he wasn't dead, and now he's going to get revenge on Sam and Charlie. I know they did kind of a similar thing with Sam in Season 6, so it could work. But I did appreciate the old-fashioned man-in-costume look to the things and found them just subtly off-putting. It took me back to the original Kripke years. I mean, these things felt really old school. And for a moment, I kind of remember that feeling of the unexplored the show used to have. My imagination thought of the monsters and skittering things that would lurk just beyond the campfire. And it really conveyed that sort of universal human sense of dread that the show used to really invoke. And I appreciate that the writer Steve Yoki, I hope I'm getting the name right. I apologize for butchering it. Anyway, I appreciate him trying to get that spirit back into the show. Something I had done for the previous episode was I had a discussion going over Bobby and AU version of him and what that means, and then I'd cut it because I thought it was just boring. And then this episode goes and has Sam and Charlie pretty much have that discussion. To quickly sum up, it was pointing out that while the new Bobby we'll just call him New Bobby, will have commonalities and certain things with the Bobby we all know and love. You know, he's not the one that helped raise the boys. He's not the same second father to them. He's going to be different. He won't really have the same attachment to them that the other one did. You know, I love that image of Bobby saying, I raised two boys to be heroes, but this one didn't. To him, these guys are more co-workers than sons. And so I appreciate that this episode had these two characters hashing that out. You know, I mean, what would philosophically be the impact of finding copies of people you know in another place? What are the implications for the soul and identity? Since there is some background overlap, obviously she shares some commonalities with the Charlie the guys know, but she is different. She didn't live the life that they knew. And I like that this episode did not shy away from that and face the issue and had them talk it over and point out, yeah, it is kind of weird and awkward for her to hear these stories of a life that was never hers. I will admit, when Sam is talking and says to Charlie that she was Dean's backup, I thought that was a little odd, because all the stuff we saw of her, that's maybe, 1-2 episodes that Dean was on a hunt and Charlie was backing him up. Of course, there could be lots of adventures and such that we see happen off screen. I have an entire shelf on my bookcase devoted to books built around that idea, and so yeah, I'm kind of okay with what may seem to be a little fuzzy canon-wise. Besides, I just like the thought that Charlie had more adventures with the guys than what we saw, and that there is other stories that could be told. If Felicia Day has a free afternoon, they could call her in and we could do a flashback episode to some lost moment in a previous. Remember, Supernatural did that in season 7, so all the solid character work, and I even like that they had a twist where what you may think is the normal damsel or victim of the episode turns out to have been the real monster all along. That was a great touch. And having a generally solid story execution, keeping canon in mind and bringing it up when it was relevant, as well as, doing it such a way that newcomers could follow along without getting swamped. I'll give this episode another 4 out of 5. So maybe things are starting to turn around. We'll see if the season can maintain the streak next time.
But here's an FYI, you're all gonna die screaming, all we wanna do is eat your brains. We're not unreasonable, I mean no one's gonna eat your eyes.